Welcome back to our YouTube channel where the world of coins unfolds like a treasure map, where every twist of metal and mint mark tells a story that could change the life of the lucky person who finds it. And today, we dive deep into one of the most fascinating numismatic mysteries ever uncovered. A 1980 quarter dollar that shocked the collecting world with its mind-blowing $14 million price tag. A coin so rare and riddled with unusual errors and minting anomalies that it has now achieved legendary status among collectors, historians, and investors alike. So sit back as we unravel the minute details and improbable twists that make this particular coin not just a valuable artifact, but a symbol of how imperfection in the minting process can create perfection in historical and monetary worth. And to begin with, we must travel back to the Denver Mint in the year 1980, a time when the United States Mint was operating at full capacity and producing billions of coins for circulation. And amidst this mass production, occasional mistakes were inevitable, but what makes this specific 1980 quarter dollar so unique is the combination and rarity of the errors it carries, each one compounding the value in the eyes of experts. Starting with the most noticeable flaw, a dramatic off-center strike that leaves part of the obverse design spilling off the planchet, giving the coin an eye-catching asymmetry that immediately signals a minting anomaly. But unlike many off-center strikes that are off by minor degrees, this one is estimated to be off by nearly 15 to 20%, enough to disrupt the alignment of key features such as the Liberty inscription and the date, while still retaining just enough design detail to be authenticated, making it the perfect balance of error and identifiable elements that collectors crave. But that's just the beginning. Because under high magnification and further examination, experts found an extremely rare double die obverse, a phenomenon where the coin's die was improperly manufactured, causing elements like the word Liberty and the motto "In God We Trust" to appear doubled, a type of error that is already known to raise values substantially even on coins with otherwise standard features. And when this doubling appears alongside an off-center strike, the rarity increases exponentially. But the mystery deepens even further when metallurgical analysis revealed a highly unusual composition, rather than being struck on the expected copper-nickel-clad planchet. This particular coin was somehow minted on a transitional planchet with metal content inconsistent with standard quarter specifications, possibly indicating it was struck on a foreign coin blank or a leftover experimental planchet, a scenario that has only occurred a handful of times in minting history and is considered a holy grail among error collectors. And then comes the partial collar strike, another rare error in which the collar die fails to properly contain the planchet during striking, leading to a warped or uneven edge that gives the coin a slight railroad rim appearance, further enhancing its distinction from normal quarters. And if that weren't enough, the reverse of the coin also presents striking anomalies, a misaligned die strike causing the eagle's wings to appear off-kilter and the inscriptions to be faint or partially missing, likely due to a combination of die fatigue and improper striking pressure. And this reverse misalignment means the obverse and reverse were struck slightly off-axis, a feature known as a rotational die error, which is rarely found in circulation coins, and adds yet another layer of uniqueness. And what makes the story of this coin even more astonishing is that it was not discovered in a collection or museum, but in the pocket change of an unsuspecting individual who nearly spent it at a gas station before a sharp-eyed employee recognized something unusual about its texture and design, prompting further investigation that would lead to experts confirming its authenticity and error profile. And once authenticated by multiple grading services, including PCGS and NGC, the coin quickly gained notoriety in the numismatic community, with auction houses competing to offer it at their events, ultimately selling at a high-profile auction for an unprecedented $14 million. And what drives such a staggering valuation isn't just the collection of errors alone, but the sheer improbability of all these errors occurring simultaneously on a single coin and surviving circulation long enough to be discovered in relatively good condition, because most coins with multiple errors are either caught and destroyed at the mint or damaged beyond recognition in circulation. And yet, this 1980 D quarter defied the odds, surviving with its errors intact and in a condition good enough to be graded MS63, a miracle in its own right, and collectors speculate that it might have been part of a very small batch, struck during a changeover or maintenance period at the Denver Mint when dies were misaligned, incorrect planchets were used, and striking pressures fluctuated wildly, and some even believe it may have been a test strike accidentally released into circulation, which would explain the combination of rare features. And further adding to its mystique is the speculation surrounding the identity of the person who discovered it. Rumored to be a part-time coin roll hunter who cashed in spare change weekly, unknowingly holding one of the most valuable error coins ever produced. And while most quarters from 1980 are worth face value or modest collector premiums, this single coin defies all logic and expectations, creating a ripple effect throughout the coin market as collectors now rush to re-examine their own 1980 D quarters for possible overlooked errors. And indeed, since this discovery, there has been a surge in submissions of 1980 D quarters to grading services, though none have yet matched the complexity and severity of the errors on this $14 million specimen. But the discovery has raised awareness about the importance of even the smallest details, things like die alignment, metal content, edge integrity, and strike pressure, all of which can contribute to creating a coin that is not just rare but historically significant. And while the value of any error coin depends on demand, rarity, and condition, the story behind this particular piece has added immense historical and cultural value that extends beyond numismatics into the realm of modern folklore, with collectors comparing its impact to the 1943 copper penny and the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, and with experts predicting that its value could rise even further as it becomes an iconic reference point in future coin error studies. We are reminded once again that great discoveries don't always come from museums or private vaults. Sometimes they are hidden in plain sight, jingling in a pocket, waiting for the right person to recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary. And the tale of the 1980 D quarter dollar is now a shining example of this reality, proving that even the most mundane of objects can hold unimaginable worth when shaped by history, chance, and imperfection. And so if you're holding onto your pocket change or inherited a forgotten coffee can full of coins from a relative, now might be the perfect time to take a closer look, because as this story shows, you never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. And this 1980 D quarter, with its spectacular array of errors, off-center strike, double die obverse, misaligned dies, partial collar, foreign planchet, and rotational misalignment, stands as a perfect storm of minting anomalies, a convergence so rare that it may never occur again, making this coin a one-of-a-kind marvel that has captivated experts and ignited imaginations. And as the numismatic world continues to buzz with its discovery, we are left with one resounding message: always pay attention to the details, because in the world of coins, a single overlooked error could turn 25 cents into $14 million. And with that, we thank you for joining us today on this extraordinary journey through coin history. We hope you found this story as fascinating as we did, and we encourage you to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more amazing stories like this, because the world of coins is vast, unpredictable, and endlessly exciting. And the next $1 million discovery might just be waiting for you. Next, 1989 P quarter dollar. We explore the most unbelievable and astonishing coin discoveries that have changed lives and stunned collectors around the world. And today we are diving deep into one of the most mysterious, valuable, and talked about era coins to ever surface from American currency, the 1989 P quarter dollar, a coin that once lived an ordinary existence among millions, but due to a spectacular set of minting errors, rare anomalies, and unbelievable survival through circulation, is now worth a staggering $13 million, making it one of the most valuable quarters in U.S. history and a legendary example of how tiny mistakes at the mint can create unimaginable value decades later. And as we explore the story of this incredible coin, we'll uncover the layers of minting mishaps and possibilities that gave rise to its immense value. Because unlike typical quarters from 1989 struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which number in the hundreds of millions, this particular specimen carries an almost mythical status, due to a combination of factors so rare and unlikely that experts believe the chances of such a coin being produced again are next to zero. And to understand how this quarter became so valuable, we must begin with the context of the year it was minted. In 1989, the Philadelphia Mint was operating under tight schedules and high production quotas, and the need to strike large quantities of coins led to increased wear and tear on dies and equipment, opening the door to mistakes that could otherwise have been caught and corrected. And it is within this chaotic atmosphere that the 1989 P quarter dollar error coin emerged, a coin that would later be identified as carrying a multitude of errors all stacked upon one another in an almost magical convergence, the first and most visually striking of which is a massive off-center strike that pushes the entire obverse design roughly 20% to the northeast, partially cutting off the profile of George Washington and leaving the date and the mint mark in a partially distorted and misaligned position, a type of error that is already rare enough to make any coin valuable, but when combined with additional anomalies, becomes exponentially more desirable. And upon further inspection using magnification, it was discovered that this coin also features a dramatic double die obverse, a misalignment in the die that caused elements such as the word Liberty, Indiana God We Trust, and even parts of Washington's bust to appear doubled and shadowed, which is an error that typically happens during the creation of the die itself and is considered one of the most popular and collectible types of errors in American coinage. And adding even more to the intrigue of this coin is a very unusual feature, a transitional planchet error, where instead of being struck on the standard copper nickel-clad planchet used for quarters at the time, metallurgical analysis has shown that this specific quarter was struck on a planchet intended for a foreign denomination, possibly from a coin made for overseas U.S. mint contracts, which means this quarter not only carries domestic minting errors, but also represents a rare cross-material strike that defies the standard laws of U.S. coin production. And if that weren't already enough to send collectors into a frenzy, the reverse side of the coin presents its own set of spectacular abnormalities, including a die clash error where the obverse and reverse dies struck each other without a planchet between them, creating ghost-like imprints of design elements on the wrong sides of the coin, most notably an outline of Washington's profile faintly appearing behind the eagle on the reverse, a visual cue so unique and powerful that it can be identified even without magnification, and is considered one of the rarest forms of error. And yet even with these anomalies, the coin somehow managed to escape quality control and make it into circulation, where it survived for years undetected despite its uniqueness, and its eventual discovery by a coin roll hunter in Pennsylvania shocked the numismatic world, not only because of its errors, but because of its exceptional condition despite the wear it likely endured in everyday commerce. And once word of its discovery spread, major grading services were quick to authenticate the coin, with PCGS ultimately assigning it an $58 grade, indicating it had only slight wear but still retained nearly all its original features and luster, a miracle considering the coin had not been stored in a collection, but had likely passed through countless hands and cash registers over the decades. And what truly set the stage for its astronomical value was the fact that no other 1989 p quarter with a similar combination of errors has ever been discovered, making this coin not just rare but potentially unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness creates a kind of mystique and desirability that drives prices sky high, especially when paired with verifiable authentication, detailed error profiles, and a captivating backstory that includes survival against all odds. And as word spread across forums, coin shows, and auction catalogs, demand to acquire this one-of-a-kind treasure reached a fever pitch, eventually culminating in a high-profile auction where multiple bidders vied for the opportunity to add it to their private collections, with the final hammer price coming in at a jaw-dropping $13 million, setting records and placing this 1989 p quarter dollar firmly in the pantheon of legendary era coins alongside the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, the 1943 copper penny, and the 1794 flowing hair dollar. And even today the buzz surrounding this coin has not faded, with experts continuing to debate exactly how such a perfect storm of errors could have occurred. Some speculating it was the result of an overnight shift using improperly prepared dies, others believing it may have been struck during a transitional test run and accidentally released, while a growing camp of theorists believe it was part of a tiny batch of experimental coins that were supposed to be destroyed but somehow slipped through the cracks and entered circulation, a possibility that has inspired a new generation of collectors to scour rolls of 1989 quarters in the hopes of finding even a distant relative to this unicorn of a coin. And indeed, the discovery has sparked a numismatic movement, with countless enthusiasts and hobbyists now re-examining old change jars, bank rolls, and inherited collections, hoping to find their own piece of unexpected treasure. Because the story of the $13 million quarter has proven that lightning can strike even in the most ordinary places, and that great fortune can hide in plain sight. And while the odds of finding another coin exactly like this may be astronomical, the existence of even one such specimen challenges the assumptions we have about quality control, minting procedures, and the randomness of error creation, and serves as a reminder that minting anomalies are more than just technical curiosities. They are pieces of living history, capturing moments when the rigid machinery of production faltered just enough to create beauty through imperfection. And this particular 1989 p quarter dollar is now enshrined in numismatic lore not just for its monetary value, but for its ability to captivate the imagination, to represent the intersection of luck, rarity, and historical intrigue. And as experts continue to study the coin, and as collectors dream of discovering something similar, the legacy of this era coin will only continue to grow. And perhaps most importantly, it reinforces a truth that anyone can relate to, that hidden treasures are often found when we least expect them, and even a simple quarter, passed over 1,000,000 times without a second thought, can turn out to be the key to untold riches and an enduring legacy. So next time you receive change at the grocery store or crack open a roll of coins from the bank, remember the story of the $13 million 1989 p quarter dollar and look a little closer, because your fortune might just be hidden in the palm of your hand. And if you enjoyed this incredible tale of accidental riches and rare discoveries, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another episode where the ordinary becomes extraordinary and the past reveals its hidden gems. And who knows, maybe next time we'll be telling your story right here on our channel. Last, coins tell stories of history, mystery, and unbelievable wealth, and today we're bringing you one of the most incredible discoveries in the numismatic world. A tale so rare and mind-blowing that it has captured the attention of seasoned collectors, historians, and even everyday people hoping for their own miracle in their pocket change, because this is the story of the 1990 quarter dollar, a seemingly ordinary coin that has defied all expectations, and now carries a jaw-dropping value of $11 million, not because it is made of precious metals or encrusted with jewels, but because of the astonishing series of minting errors and production anomalies that make it one of the most valuable mistake coins ever to have surfaced from the United States Mint. And as we dive into the depths of its history and uniqueness, we'll uncover how a simple error can elevate a common coin to legendary status. So grab your cup of coffee or tea and settle in, because this is the coin story you've been waiting for. A story that begins in the bustling production halls of the Philadelphia Mint during the year 1990, when coin presses were operating around the clock to keep up with national demand, and in the chaos of high-speed production and mass output, even the smallest oversight could snowball into monumental error. And that is exactly what happened with this spectacular specimen, the now famous 1990 quarter dollar, that is believed to be one of a kind due to the rare combination of flaws it exhibits, starting with an instantly noticeable feature, a striking off-center misalignment, a shocking 20 to 25% off-center strike that pushed George Washington's profile dramatically to the edge of the coin, causing parts of his hair, the date, and the Liberty inscription to be clipped or partially missing, while the remainder of the design flows unevenly across the blank planchet surface in a way that no regular coin ever should. And this off-center strike alone is a highly collectible error in the numismatic world, but in this particular case, it's only the beginning of what makes this coin so astronomically valuable, because further inspection reveals an even more significant detail, a double die obverse, where the inscriptions, like "I in God we trust," "Liberty," and even parts of Washington's facial features are clearly doubled due to a misalignment in the die hubbing process. A mistake that can only occur during the creation of the coin die itself, and not during the actual coin striking, making it an extremely rare and coveted error on its own. And now imagine having both a double die and off-center strike on the same coin. This kind of dual error is exceptionally scarce. But the surprises continue, because this coin was also found to have a transitional planchet error, meaning it was not struck on the typical copper nickel-clad quarter planchet used in 1990, but instead on a blank intended for a different denomination or even a foreign contract coin, giving it an incorrect weight and a distinctly different ring when dropped, characteristics which are immediately detectable by experts using specialized tools, and metallurgical analysis confirmed that the composition was off from the standard formula, indicating that this coin was struck during a rare moment of confusion at the mint when leftover or misrouted planchets were accidentally used in the production run. And that's not all, because the edge of the coin also shows signs of a partial collar strike, which caused the rim to appear uneven or give the so-called railroad rim effect, another distinct marker that something went terribly, or perhaps beautifully, wrong during the striking process. And just when you think it couldn't get any more unusual, the reverse side of the coin reveals its own set of mysteries, including misaligned dies that resulted in a rotation of nearly 30 degrees between the front and back designs. A rotational error that again is extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors, and on top of that, traces of a die clash are also present, where remnants of Washington's silhouette can be faintly seen on the reverse behind the eagle due to the dies striking each other without a planchet in between, further adding to the unique nature of this coin. And all of these factors, each a valuable error in its own right, combined to create a once-in-a-lifetime numismatic masterpiece. A perfect storm of minting mistakes that somehow made it past quality control, escaped the melting pot, and entered into circulation, where it lived an unremarkable life until it was discovered by a part-time collector who regularly searched coin rolls from banks, a person who had no idea that they were holding one of the rarest quarters ever created, and after noticing the off-center design and unusual texture, they sent the coin for grading. And that's when the experts at PCGS and later at NGC confirmed what many couldn't believe: a verified 1990 quarter dollar with an extraordinary range of high-grade errors all present on a single coin, a specimen so unique that no other known 1990 quarter matches its characteristics, and it was graded at -58 Australian dollars, meaning it had light wear but retained most of its original luster and detail, an incredible feat given that it had circulated among the public for years without being caught. And once the authentication was complete, word of this miracle coin began to spread across forums, coin conventions, online marketplaces, and eventually to major auction houses, where collectors and investors lined up to place their bids, driven not only by the value of the coin's errors, but by the coin's story, one of extraordinary survival, of a flaw that turned into fortune, and of the tiny unnoticed details that can turn pocket change into a financial miracle. And when the auction finally concluded, the final bid came in at an earth-shattering $11 million, setting a new record for the most valuable error quarter in history and cementing this coin's place in the pantheon of iconic U.S. minting anomalies. And since that time, it has become a reference point for discussions about quality control, error classifications, and the way minting mistakes are perceived and valued in the numismatic world, inspiring a new wave of hobbyists, collectors, and hopefuls who now eagerly examine their spare change in search of their own lucky find. And what makes this story so remarkable is that it reminds us all that the most valuable things in life are sometimes the ones that appear the most ordinary, that miracles can hide in plain sight, and that you never know when a simple coin might carry with it a story of history, rarity, and life-changing value. And even today experts continue to study this coin, marveling at how so many anomalies occurred on one piece of currency and debating whether there could be others like it out there, perhaps undiscovered in jars of change, tucked in drawers, or passed unknowingly between people who never stopped to look closely. And while it's likely that this coin is truly unique, the hope it has ignited is real and widespread, fueling the imaginations of coin roll hunters, antique dealers, and average folks all across the country who now look at their quarters just a little differently. And it has also raised important questions within the minting community about how such a coin could have escaped undetected, about the vulnerabilities in the system that allow such mistakes to pass through undetected, and about the line between error and art, because in this case, the errors are not just mechanical flaws, they are historical fingerprints that tell a story of the human process behind machine perfection. And so the 1990 quarter dollar, with its off-center strike, double die obverse, transitional planchet, partial collar, die clash, and rotational misalignment, stands not just as a valuable coin, but as a symbol of how the unpredictable and imperfect nature of human endeavor can sometimes create results far more valuable than perfection itself. And if you've ever doubted whether it's worth checking your change, let this story be your answer, because lightning has struck before, and it could strike again, and who knows, maybe the next record-breaking coin is already sitting in your pocket, waiting to be discovered. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell icon so you won't miss any of our deep dives into the fascinating world of coins, because the next life-changing discovery could be just around the corner, and we'll be right here to tell you the story.